Hey guys, Parfax here, and today I'm back from the dead bringing you another video. All right, let's get started. All right, the first thing that I want to say is if you have watched one of my videos in the past, let me know in the comment section down below. It's probably been a year to year and a half since I've actually put out a video, and I'm back playing New World and felt like I needed to put out a video, or at least wanted to put out a video. I don't really put out video for, just the sake of putting out videos. I just do it to help you guys out. I enjoy doing it. So let me know in the comment section down below if you enjoyed the video, if you've ever watched one of my videos before. But if not, if you've never watched my videos, stop by in the comment section, say hey, and I'll make sure I at least say hey back. But this is going to be a sword and shield hatchet build. This is the build I'm going to name the Duelist. Now, just because it's the Duelist doesn't mean it's just a 1v1 build, but this build can do pretty much everything. We're going to be playing medium hatchet, sword, and shield. We're going to have PvP clips at the end, but just note that every single PvP clip that you see was actually recorded after the nerf. So I know when you go into especially OPRs, it's a lot of boat players at the moment. Before, you had a pretty good mix of melee, but it's actually still really good. I would still probably put hatchet in the absolute S tier for weapons right now. It's very good. It's still sticky. Every weapon has its own issues, and hatchet being one of them, but you're going to see how sticky I can be. You can deal, crazy amounts of damage. You can stick on people. You have a good amount of CC. You have a good amount of catch. You have pretty much everything, and you're still pretty tanky. So let's go ahead and look at the tree. First, we'll start off with the sword and shield. I'm not going to go over each individual point, but just a few things to note. If you ever watched one of my videos, normally I will do shield rush. We won't go down to the weekend. We'll get shield bash and we'll do leaping strike. Here, since they've made upheaval a very good ability, we're going to be taking upheaval. It does a ton of damage. This is our hardest hitting single skill that we have on any of our weapons. It's pretty good. And we're taking the weaken here. This is going to allow us to not only weaken with this right here, but it's going to allow us to slow. So once we hit a target with this, we're going to be able to basically stay on them the entire time. And of course, we got our normal set of passives there, and we're going to be taking leadership. Now for the hatchet tree, we're going to be, of course, taking Defy Death, Berserk, Raging Torrent, and Social Distancing. Social Distancing is just going to allow us to not only catch people, but get out of, some sticky situations. This is one of our best abilities for at least escaping and catching people. Now, I will say that a lot of people will probably take this, and it's okay if you want to take the aim throw as well. The reason why I took this is I'm not really great at hitting my range shots anyway. They don't deal a ton of damage. And because we want that extra 5% crit chance, we do have this passive here that gives us extra, stamina. We get 10 stamina every time our light attacks crit. And this is just going to give us a little bit extra crit chance. We do have a lot of crit damage on this build, so just getting extra crit chance is going to be just more DPS. Some weapons, you don't care about it at all. Because of a few changes to hatchet, we do, and we'll go over that here in a second. But all the rest are fairly standard. You can take fortifying strikes, but I don't heavy attack very often, which is the reason why I don't have any of the heavy attack passives. The one reason why we don't take final blow is when you're doing Raging Torrent, most of the time you're not going to get this off anyway. I don't want to put a point into something that, yes, does a little bit extra damage, but 9 times out of 10 we're just never going to use it. I'd rather have the passive down here that kind of purges, bleeds, burns, poisons. I'd rather get some extra stamina, or use less stamina when I dodge, get more stamina back when I'm actually hitting attacks. It's going to be more survivability that way anyway. So let's go over attributes real quick. We're going to be running 350 strength, 200 constitution, and then we're going to put the rest of the points in dexterity. We are a fairly tanky build. If you want to drop it down to 150, lose a little bit of the tankiness and go up a little bit in dexterity, get that extra damage plus the base damage you're just going to get with putting dexterity, that's completely okay. But the reason why I like this build is because I've been able to duel Void Gauntlet builds with Void Blade. You can duel bow players, you can duel pretty much anybody. It's not going to say that you're not going to die. That's just going to happen, but you are super sticky. You actually have a lot of power, and you're going to see my gear is not that good, and I'm still able to do all this. I averaged probably about a 14-ish in 4 or 5 kill death ratio in OPR with this build, but you can play this build in 3v3s or pretty much any content. So let's go ahead and look at the gear. So I originally started with this hatchet, and I really didn't care about the shirking flames. And the reason why we went vicious is if you look, the base critical damage multiplier is 140. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the equip load, and this is how to tell whether your weapon can actually utilize crit damage or not. So let's go down all the way to heavy armor because they have the most base crit damage reduction. You can see down there at the very bottom, PvP crit damage taken minus 25%, and then with the 150 con passive, you'll get an additional 15%. That equals 140%. So as a base, we deal the same damage, crits and non-crits. So you might be thinking, well, why would we ever want to crit with this build? Well, 2 things. 1, that means vicious will increase our damage every time we crit. If you hit somebody in the back, that is just actual damage. But anytime we crit, that'll just be that extra whatever, you know, vicious is what, like 7%. We get that extra. But one change to the hatchet is the Keen Berserk passive on your armor gives 12% critical chance and crit damage. And then on the weapon, it is 20%. So this means when we're in Berserk, we definitely can take advantage of the vicious passive. Very good. It's going to be something that you want to use. We'll go over some of the stuff that's a little bit better. We're going to look at the hatchet that I ended up using. But note, Keen Berserk is very, very good for this build. And when I swapped to this hatchet, which most of the PvP clips that you will see has it, I actually didn't have Keen Berserk on my gear. I forgot to slot it, and I kind of forgot about it, and I still didn't really notice it. So this build will get even stronger, and I've been using this build since I started playing on the Fresh Start servers. I'm about 2 weeks behind-ish, but since I started playing, I have been using this build more times than not. So I got both these weapons, the 2 that I'm using off the PvP track. You don't need it. This weapon right here, I bought off the marketplace for very cheap. This is very good, and some of the kills you'll see in there that actually does a little bit more damage than this, depending on the situation, because I wasn't using Keen Berserk. But so our BIS perks here, I love penetrating backstab. It's just the highest amount of damage you're gonna get on a weapon. You can put rogue here as well, but this is gonna allow you to really shred through even medium armor users. It comes with exhaustive exploitation and keenly empowered, which are both okay perks. The exhaustive exploitation is gonna allow us to stick on the targets a little bit more. Keenly empowered just gonna give us a little bit more damage, but the penetrating backstab really is gonna push it through. Now, Keen Berserk really is needed for this, and it is probably your most important passive from your weapons out of any other ability. Make sure you get that passive as well. Outside of that, we really don't care as much about the other ones. Obviously, if you can get them, great, but for the most part, we really just need Keen Berserk there. So let's look at this, the Sword of the Champion. This weapon is crazy good. So we have penetrating backstab again. We have vicious and plagued crits. Now with this, we're not getting as much out of the actual vicious as you are for the hatchet. It just happens to come with penetrating backstab and vicious, but we're not doing a ton of damage on this weapon anyway. Once we get our abilities out, for the most part, as long as we crit, now that we have plague crits on here, we're probably just going to go ahead, swap over the hatchet and stick on there. You might be looking, this is 675. Well, it gets upscaled into OPR to 700. You can also use Sin. Sin is pretty good. I'd probably put something like Keen Berserk on it. I forget what the 3rd perk it comes with is, but it's a pretty good weapon. It's going to allow you to have your weakens, your slows, your plagued crits. They're going to last a little bit longer as well. But one thing to know about the sword, whenever you make a sword and shield build, is the shield makes a big difference. So when it comes to the sword, you want to make sure that your sword itself, at least to sort of min-max your abilities, has specific perks like rogue or penetrating backstab, plagued crits. The stuff that can't roll on shield, you want to put it on your sword. If you really want empowering leaping strike, you can put it on your sword. Now with your shield, this is where you're just going to fill in the rest of the abilities. Enchanted, keenly empowered, and for the most part here, instead of sturdy, I would much prefer fortifying shield rush. Fortified Shield Rush, Enchanted, Keenly Empowered would go perfect with this sword right here. It's going to allow us to pretty much do the most damage, but we didn't have a shield like that. This is just a random shield that I got that's still really good, but still could use, you know, fortifying shield rush would make this really pop off. Now for the armor, we are running tumblers. Tumblers are fantastic. I mean, you have empowered, fortified, and heals you. These are just absolutely insane. I love these. I can't say much, you know, I mean, especially in medium armor, when you're getting that extra armor for that extra fortify, it is fantastic. And then the other stuff is just random stuff that I've picked up. The big stuff here that you want to get, I don't even have one piece of enchanted board. You want enchanted board slash conditioning are probably gonna be your two best. You do want some thrust conditioning because you do have a blunderbuss, which seems to be tailored off for some reason lately. But then you also have bows, rapiers, and heavy attacks from the sword. But slash conditioning and enchanted ward are very good. Elemental aversion for all those pesky mages. And then you're just going to fill out with the rest. I do have 3 pieces of freedom on here. I really don't care about freedom that much. It's not something you particularly need a ton of. It's just going to help you with slow stuns and roots. We do have berserk, which is going to break it. So it doesn't bother me as much to have pretty much not a lot of freedom on this build. But we can only deal with the pieces we get. I haven't spent a ton of money investing into this set of gear. We do have some I've completed the Gorgon run a couple times, so we do have some Gorgon essences. I still have 1 Gorgon inductor here. We could get some pieces crafted, but this is what we have at the moment. Nothing incredibly special. Shirking fortification and health are also very good perks. You just want to fill them up with some form of damage reduction. And then when it comes to the sword, I didn't really say this, but the perks really went shortify and shield rush, like I said on the shield. Leaping strike is really good as well. So let's go ahead and look at our jewelry. We're just running a random amulet. It's just one I got from the Gorgon run. We have health, empowered, divine. This is more of a PvE amulet than a PvP. What I'd want here is health, some form of protection, and then either like a refreshing or a stamina recovery. Stamina recovery is probably still what I'd want here. I know it's kind of like an old way to build your amulet, but I still really like it. We'll go to the earring. This earring is pretty bad. I do like fortifying toast. That's not terrible. We have refreshing, which I definitely want. We don't have refreshing toast on here, which we really should get. We probably have one laying around that we could probably just swap out for. I think this is a dexterity one. This is a magnifying, protection toast, healthy healing heart. This might even be better than the current one we have on. But you're really looking for refreshing toast as your best perk, and then refreshing. And then I kind of like fortifying toast too. That's still pretty good. And then we have elemental band. Now, I am not abusing this like you actually can. So this band, if you guys didn't know, is very broken. It procs on things it's not supposed to proc on. I cannot actually proc the first passive on it at all. So if I were to put in my sword an elemental gem, if I had a sword that had an attunement on it, like the original one that I was using, I have it one of my loadouts here, which is this one right here with flame attunement. If I put an elemental gem in here, I would get 2 stacks of empowerment right off the bat. Now, having said that, the attunement itself is bugged with the elemental band. It'll proc it, and it's getting extra procs. But even without that, this is essentially the champion's ring. Hardy, keen awareness, invigorated punishment. Keen awareness is the best for this build, but like I said, we do have plague crits on our sword, and the hatchet wants to crit anyway, so getting the actual keen awareness isn't a bad stat, but we really want that invigorated punishment. If you had a hardy / invigorated punishment, that definitely would be better than the elemental band if you're not really utilizing that elemental affinity. So I want to go over just a few tips here. We're not going to do a whole lot of explaining how the build works. It's pretty self-explanatory. We have a lot of catch with our leaping strike. We have an interrupt and somewhat of a catch in our shield rush. We have a root with our social distancing, and we have speed with our berserk. We're very sticky. We have speed when we get a crit on the sword. So we are able to stick on pretty much any target in the game. You're going to see I stick on some rapier players. I'm able to stick on just about everybody, even after the nerf. So one thing I want to show you is an actual animation cancel for the sword. Now, I haven't tested to see if you can animation cancel the actual berserk. It's a lot more difficult. You can look up your own video for that because there's like 4 or 5 of them. They're pretty in depth, but we're going to talk about the sword. So we're backing up here just so we can get in the same spot every time. So I'm backed up as far as I can go. We'll just, yep. And I'm going to point my cursor right at this post. I'm just going to leaping strike. We're going to see where I get to. So we end basically straddling that rock there. So we're going to let it come off, cool down. And what we're going to do next, let me make sure we get in the same spot here. I think it's on that rock right there is what we got. Is I'm going to point at the same area and I'm going to light attack. And at the same time I light attack, we're going to do our leaping strike. Now you do have to wait for the start of the animation. And then we're going to go ahead and leaping strike and see how far we get. So as you can see here, we were originally right here, and now we're right here. The reason for this is whenever you start an animation with the sword, it'll go the distance of the sword strike plus the ability that you use. You can use with shield rush as well. So if I were to do the same thing, let's go ahead and back all the way up. We'll shield rush. Oh, wrong ability. Okay, we'll put our cursor there. We got to that grass, and here in a couple seconds we will do that again. But again, we're just gonna, as soon as we start the light attack, we'll go ahead and hit that ability. So we have 3 seconds. We're lined up. Let's get there, and we got a little bit further that time. That was pretty close. I might not have done it correctly, but you can actually do it with both of them. I've tested them extensively, and it's actually easier to test it on this side. And you can test this anywhere, just back up so you can get to the same spot, aim at something, and both your shield rush and your leaping strike will go about this much further. It's basically one basic attack further. Now you might not think, well, why would I ever need to do that? But it does help when you're trying to catch a target. You'll see me doing this in clips here in a second. You can't even really see as he goes to raise it up. You can do it and you'll get that extra distance. Any bit extra helps, especially when you're trying to stick on targets. And remember, whenever you melee somebody, it's going to slow them down. So just being able to get to them is fantastic. So we'll just, you can just get a little bit extra distance on it. So, all right, we're going to have some PvP clips coming up here in a second. We'll go over the Heart Rune gem. And after that, those PvP clips will be coming up. I'm currently using Cunning Heart Rune of Detonate. You can use pretty much whatever you want here. I don't want to use the one that makes me take extra damage because we are kind of playing more of like an assassin. We're going behind the lines. We're getting a kill or two and backing out. And we don't want to have to take that extra damage. So we're doing the one that I can do extra damage as I'm charging it up. You can charge it up, do a leaping strike into an upheaval, and that's going to do some extra 15% extra damage on both those skills. And then you'll have your Heart Rune blow up. I haven't tried the actual Primal Fury. I used to love this ability. It used to be hilarious. I haven't tried it since the update. We'll have to see if it's any good. I might actually level it up and try it. I know it's more of like a meme ability, and I think it's a lot of fun to use, but we'll have to see. You can use that. You can use Cannon if you really want to. Stone Form if you're really just trying to get out. You can use Bile Bomb if you want to have some extra heal cut. That's definitely not bad. But I do like using Detonate, just give us a little bit more extra pop. I do use this to get a nice little 2v1 in one of the clips you're going to see here in a second. So I really like it. I use it in a lot of situations. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching so much. This is my first video in a while. So, maybe bear with me a little bit while we get all the audio situated and stuff like this. This is actually the third time I've recorded this video because the audio has been kind of messed up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed the PvP clips coming up in a second, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Let's go. I got big dreams, I'ma do big things. Yeah, you see me on the big screen looking so clean. I don't move slow, I move fast, right past anybody taking life for granted. Yeah, that's too bad. I be grateful for everything that I have. You only got this life, you don't get it back. Make the most of it, become the best that I can. Everybody look at me, I got a plan. You gotta work hard, play hard, do it from the start. Cause how you do anything is everything you start. Stay consistent and do it every day. Don't let fatigue get in your way. Cause 10% of something is better than nothing. You better do something if you wanna be something. I can feel my stomach rumbling, I'm hungry. Big things coming, I ain't bluffing, yeah. No, I don't wanna stay the same, yeah. So I keep pushing through the pain, yeah. That's the only way to make a change, yeah. So I fight every day and train, yeah. It'll all be worth it. One day it'll all be worth it. so I keep pushing through the pain, yeah. That's the only way to make a change, yeah. I've had enough, I'm making my own luck. Adrenaline, my drug, I'm sick of feeling stuck. I got this, will not quit to the top, I promise. Cause I've had enough. Better watch out, I'm on the climb to the crown. In my prime right now, hear me loud, I've been spitting for a while now. All by myself, independent DIY now. Don't need no help, I've been beating out labels and money and budgets, it's funny. I do all the work, yeah, keep it 100. I fight for my dreams, I would die for these things. I believe in myself, I refuse to be weak, I like to build things. Empires out of buildings, I wanna leave a legacy of helping others find they feel things. Of motivating and killing, depression, exhaustion, we need some healing. I work through the pain, I like seeing gains. I keep my head down, buried, walk through the flames. Yeah, I do this every day, even when I feel drained. A true man pushes through, you don't hear complaints. No, I don't wanna stay the same, yeah. So I keep pushing through the pain, yeah. That's the only way to make a change, yeah. So I fight every day and train, yeah. It'll all be worth it, one day it'll all be worth it. So I keep pushing through the pain, yeah. That's the only way to make a change, yeah. I've had enough, I'm making my own luck. Adrenaline, my drug, I'm sick of feeling stuck. I got this, will not quit to the top.